everyone, and welcome to Asian Viewpoints with Mary Sitt. Have you ever wandered around one of Texas' most popular grocery stores, HEB, and have seen sushi chefs preparing fresh sushi? Well, these aren't just samples. This is high-quality restaurant-style sushi, and the company behind all this is Tokyo Gardens Company, a food management company that specializes in providing full-service sushi and Asian food to supermarkets, universities, and corporate offices. And here to tell us more about it is Robert Gondo, the president of Tokyo Gardens Company. Thank you so much, Robert.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So tell me, what supermarkets are you in? How many? And where are they?
Well, HEB is our largest client. That's how we got
Okay.
started. We
Okay.
started in 2002 with one store in Friendswood, Texas, which is south of Houston,
Mhm.
near NASA, and grew that into over 300 HEB locations. And we have a few other grocery clients outside of Texas, but within Texas, HEB is our main grocery client.
Okay. So there's when you walk into an HEB, you see sort of this workstation, and you see this big sign that says Sushiya. Did I say that right? Sushiya, which is the
Sushi,
brand
yeah.
HEB's brand name for your sushi. And these aren't just little samples are given away. There is like real restaurant quality style, right?
Yeah, that's the bar that we set. Our goal with HEB is to serve restaurant quality sushi in their stores.
And how do you find the chefs? I mean, these are like real chefs who normally would work at a restaurant. They're going to work at an HEB. Is that right?
Yeah, well, a long time ago, it used to be really difficult because sushi in a grocery store wasn't very popular. It was a new thing.
It was
And so it
very
was hard to
unusual.
find chefs. Now, sushi is very popular, and we have a lot of people who want to work in our stores because there's a lot of customers, there's a lot of traffic. HEB does a wonderful job bringing customers into their store. And so we actually have a lot of people that want a job with us and want to make sushi. It's become very popular these days.
When you started in HEB, what year was that? Do you remember back in the 80s?
2002. Well,
Oh, 2000.
HEB was 2002.
HEB,
And
okay. And back then, this is Texas. This is the land of beef and barbecue. How
oh
did
yeah.
you make the inroads with sushi? I mean, was it already becoming popular among people?
Well, sushi in a grocery store started in California back in
Okay,
the 80s. So, but being from Texas, it wasn't something we were very familiar with. In fact, it was not something that we thought would be successful. We had
right.
we had no idea what was going to happen. But the first day we opened, we broke all kinds of records. And so we just took it from there. We had no idea what it was going to be.
So all this started out as Tokyo Gardens restaurants. That's where the roots really came from. It's a family business. Can you tell me about how your grandparents started that restaurant?
Sure. Well, my grandparents, they're originally from California and moved out to Texas in 1962 to open a restaurant in Dallas. It was called Sakura in uh, like downtown Dallas. Opened the first sushi bar in Texas. And 4 years later, they moved to Houston, opened a restaurant there called Tokyo Gardens. And that restaurant they lived and operated in for over 32 years.
And they wanted it to be the most authentic Japanese experience. They even brought in architects from Japan, right, to design the place?
That's right. The restaurant, the shell of the restaurant was an old Chevrolet dealership on Westheimer,
Mhm.
and they gutted the inside and flew in architects from Japan and the Japanese style of architecture and built the place to have the feel of a real Japanese house, a Japanese restaurant.
And you had some pretty famous clients. Can you name some of them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, over the years, there were many people. We've had the mayors, presidents, have come and eaten at the restaurant. We had Sammy Davis Jr. has been there, but lots and
Right.
lots of famous
George
people.
Bush, yeah,
George Bush,
HW
of
Bush,
course,
yeah.
has been there. Lots of people have always have stopped by the restaurant. So
And
yes.
and your grandparents were intent upon, explaining and conveying and educating about people about the Japanese culture. It became like a field trip for students, is that right? The
Yeah,
restaurant?
a lot of schools used to take students on a field trip to have lunch there, and they would eat in the restaurant, sit on the floor, and you have to take your shoes off and
Right.
then get a very it was a cultural experience. Yeah.
When the restaurant closed in 1998, your parents started taking catering, orders, um, and how did that lead to sushi in supermarkets?
Well, the catering business, they kept the catering business. My dad used to load up the van and go to parties and events and do catering with the chefs. And eventually, and this happened completely by chance. My dad was at a Christmas party, an event,
Mhm.
and met an HEB executive who brought up the idea of doing sushi in one of their grocery stores, and we said yes, and that's how things got started.
So what were some of the challenges over the years of bringing sushi to a supermarket?
Well, we have a wonderful set of business partners that work with us, and the Lee family has been really helpful to help bring sushi chefs and attract and find people that wanted to work in this business because it wasn't easy at the time. We didn't know a lot about what it took to buy products, find ingredients, and
Mhm.
do all those things. It wasn't we didn't know anything because we'd just been running a restaurant, and it was very
Right.
different than running in a grocery store and running locations all over Texas. So finding people and finding um, good workers was a tough challenge, and we struggled for a very long time.
Robert, you grew up in the business, but you didn't always work in your family business. You worked at Amazon, in Seattle. What did you do there, and how was the work there? How has that influenced what you do here?
Sure. I worked at Amazon. I lived in Seattle for many years and learned a lot about retail, learned a lot about technology, learned what it's like working for a large company, running a big business, and I take a lot of those lessons to our company here today because want to modernize what we do and improve our operations and bring technology
Mhm.
technology to sushi as much as I can. So it's been very helpful.
And tell me what you learned most from your grandparents and your father too, in this business.
Well, I mean, obviously making good food is the most important thing,
Mhm,
but also being good people. My father was very active in the community
mhm,
and wanted to um, build a good reputation for Asian Americans, for Japanese Americans, because Asians weren't recognized back in the day, and that was something that he wanted to project a positive image
mhm.
so that people would respect him, people would respect the community, and doing that and conveying that through food was his mission.
And actually, your grandparents were in a detention camp in World War II, is that right? So they had a really hard time. They lost everything before they moved to Texas. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. My grandparents were in a internment camp in Colorado during the war. They had a farm beforehand, and I had to pack up and leave everything. And they lost the property because they were at the camp. They couldn't make the payments. They couldn't go maintain it or do anything. So when the war ended and they returned to California, they had to start all over from nothing.
Wow, and so instead of carrying around bitterness or resentment, I mean, they just built the business, became successful, and your father, the next generation, just wanted to give back to the community, which is
Yeah,
just
well,
wonderful.
this was his American dream. My father wanted to grow up and be respected in the community, and his parents never shared any resentment or
Mm,
bad feelings. The most important thing for them teaching my mom and dad was to become part of the community, assimilate into American culture, and try to build a life. And so that's what they focused on was never looking backwards, always looking to the future and trying to live out the American dream, which is what they did.
and so you have this wonderful legacy. Are you trying to I know you're trying to keep it alive, but also what do you see for the future of Tokyo Gardens?
Well, I mean, growing with HEB has been tremendous.
Mhm,
And what I see here in Texas is how much opportunity there still is.
mhm.
We're working on so many new stores, new operations with HEB, and yeah, we started as a sushi company, but we're not just a sushi company anymore. We do Asian hot food. We do noodle bowls. We do rice bowls. We have a hibachi type program. We've expanded our line into lots of other products,
Uh-huh.
and so we've grown not just with sushi, but just all of Asian food. And so we see a lot of opportunity to keep growing that business.
Well, I feel lucky I can go right to HEB 5 minutes from where I live and pick up some of that sushi.
Yeah, it's very
So
convenient.
thank you so much, Robert, for being with us, and good luck with the future growth of your company.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this interview, please click the like button below and be sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss a show. I'm Mary Sitch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.